All right. This man is getting jumped on by the View and other people that kind of rhyme. They to play the game bars. Let's see what he has to say for himself.
Right, Donald Trump's second administration is starting to take shape, and it is full of names you might recognize. Lee Zeldin, he's going to be running the EPA. Elise Stefanik will be the U.S. ambassador to the UN. Our friend and frequent guest, Stephen Miller, will be the deputy chief of staff for policy. Just breaking earlier tonight, there are multiple reports out tonight that Florida Senator Marco Rubio will be named Secretary of State. Now, Donald Trump is also naming former acting ICE Director Tom Homan as the new border czar. He will be in charge of securing all of our nation's borders, overseeing what has to be the largest deportation operation in American history. Now, Tom is an experienced, effective professional. Everyone knows he will get the job done, including the left. They are absolutely melting down over his appointment.
They are. I saw one video where someone said that deporting that many people will destroy our economy. I was speaking with a buddy from the gym around the time that they announced Kamala Harris was going to take Biden's place and run. And he told me the same thing. He was telling me about something that happened in Florida with the guys that were picking oranges. And I forgot what it was. Something happened. He sent me a couple of clips of the news story. And it wasn't good. Put it that way. It wasn't good. So I'd like to hear both arguments for it. Will it work? Will it not work? I'm very curious. But I guess we'll see. I guess, because I would assume a lot of businesses have taken advantage of the fact that there are a lot of illegal people here. So they can pay them under the table and, willing to work for less and this and that. And if you get them all out of here, could it be a hit to the workforce? Guess we'll see.
Led by the co-hosts of that hit show on ABC Disney, The View. Take a look.
I realize that when he says, yes, families can be deported together, what he is saying is that U.S. citizens can be deported. What he is saying is, I realize that when he says, yes, families can be deported together, what he is saying is that U.S. citizens can be deported. What he is saying is,
if you want them to stay together, if you want the families to stay together, you can all leave together. I see what he's saying with that. It's like, if the parents are illegal and the child is legal, you want your child to stay with you, so you all go back together. That's, you make arrangements and you all leave together to keep the family together. I don't, it's like I said, you're doing something illegal. It's like, look, when I think about this with the illegals, especially with Hispanics, it makes me think about how I grew up and more than half of the dudes I knew growing up in my city all sold drugs. It was like a family business. It was weird, a town business. It was weird. They were all doing it. I was the one doing things legal. I had a paperboy job, and then I worked at McDonald's for a little bit, worked at Wendy's, worked at Caldor. You know what I mean? Waited tables. I did a few things, and I'm just like, if all of those dudes got special privileges that I couldn't get, and I did it the right way, I'd be a little irritated too. You got what I'm saying? So it just makes me think of that. You know what I mean? But, I'll tell you a quick story about what happened in my area. They did a sweep of the whole lower half of the state. And I woke up at one Saturday morning. I went outside, went up the street, and I had to go to the store, whatever. And when I came home, my mom was like, "You notice anything?" I was like, "What? What?" She was like, "Anybody on the streets? You see anybody?" I was like, "It's kind of empty." And she was like, "Yeah, they did a sweep and they went to get everybody out their beds and arrested them. Everybody that's been selling drugs, they went to get every single one of them." I was like, "Yo." Some of them had kids. Some of them didn't have kids. Guess what? When they got arrested, they got separated from their children for doing something illegal.
If the parent is undocumented and they have U.S. citizen children or U.S. citizen spouse, or and you don't want to separate them, then let's deport the U.S. citizens. When you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough.
I didn't think that. But think about it. You're a criminal if you come into the country illegally. That right there makes you a criminal. So that's all of them, correct? Right?
Of criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers.
Grandmothers, brothers, if they're illegal. Yeah. See, this is a whole pleading to your heartstrings type of thing.
And aunts. Yep. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family.
See, now you're playing on the whole American dream thing. Come here legally then. Come here legally. Come here legally. That's it. just try it. Just try to do it the right way. You know, and I heard, I saw somebody in the comments and they said something about, and they got here legally in 2 years and stuff. But I've heard it can take up to 10. Listen, as soon as you get the thought in your head, you want to become an American citizen, you should start that process and do everything you can to get here as fast as possible legally. That's what I would do. I wouldn't make it like a snap judgment. Like, I want to go to America. I've been like, look, I've been growing up in Mexico. I've been hearing this and that. I want to go to America. As soon as, I don't know how old you got to be to get here legally. 18 maybe or whatever. I don't know. I'd have started my joint. I'd have stayed out of trouble. Got a job down there, stayed out of trouble, saved my money, and did it the right way. I don't see what's so hard about this.
Family members. It means you're for your colleagues.
And I don't want to hear about this whole this and that and crime listen. I grew up in poverty, around crime and everything too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people you find successes or just normal average people that never got in any trouble that live in crime stricken areas. Like, they never did nothing, but the people around them, there's a lot of people around them doing crime. But so how are they surviving? They've got jobs, they've got children, they might be poor, and they're doing it all legally. People talk, oh, I did what I had to do with it. Let me tell you something. I'll take that on a case-by-case basis. Case-by-case basis. I need to hear your story. Because I've talked to dudes who's like, I did what I had to do. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Somebody I knew, his girlfriend was telling me about it. So, yeah, he did what he felt he needed to do. I'm like, we worked together. He could have got a second job. I know people that could have hooked him up. He could have got a part-time job. Like, no, because he went to prison for selling drugs. He got out and started selling drugs again at some point. That's why Dave Chappelle made that joke that time when he was like, he was playing like he was the fortune teller. He was like, oh, I see it. You about to get out. Say word, son. Say word. You about to get out. 6 months later, going back in for the same damn thing. Because it's like, come on, man. It's like we know people in the black community that can't change their stripes, what it is they're doing, and they can. You absolutely do not have to keep coming out of prison, going back in for doing the same damn thing. You can get a job. You can learn to bring up your financial knowledge, investing, saving your money, starting businesses. You know what I mean? Just so much to learn with it if you take your time, and you can do it legally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do what I had to do. I know. I was talking to this one girl one time at a barbecue. Scarlett was with me, and she was all like, "I tell you right now, if I gotta sell to feed my kids," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "No, look, my mom raised me, my brother, by herself. Okay, we were in poverty for a while, but we were always fed. There are several government programs that can help single mothers or even struggling families. There's always a way to legally take care of yourself and your children. You ain't never gotta go sell the kitty cat. I, like, like what is that? Where their mind can't think past that they go from, oh, I'm broke, sell coochie. Like, you or sell drugs. It's like you can't think to get a second job. Some people sometimes work third jobs. They got a full-time job and they got two part-time jobs. I had that at one point. And then I got one full-time job that took care of all of that. See? It's an easier way out to do the crime-ridden way sometimes, but it's also more dangerous for you and for your children. So what are you gonna do? You gonna do it the right way or not?
The propaganda war has begun. Here with more is America's next border czar. Tom Homan is with us. Tom, welcome back to the program. Great to have you.
So I give you these little nuggets because I don't want y'all making stupid decisions. You gotta be able to see the forest through the trees. You have to be able to see a situation, and see what could happen in the future doing things a specific way. If you can't see it, sit there and ponder, or get into a think tank with your friends, brainstorm on it, talk to them about it. Even if y'all a bunch of ignorants, y'all can eventually figure out something.
Are you planning on deporting American citizens?
No, exactly not. Look, the view, it's like the island of misfit toys. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. President Trump has made it clear. We will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats first.
Okay.
And that's what the focus will be. And there's over 1.5 convicted criminal aliens in this country with final orders removal that we're going to be looking for. There's thousands of gang members, illegal gang members we're going to be looking for.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to say, if you're in the country illegally,
All them gangs that are taking over all those buildings.
you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not. I won't feel comfortable if I'm in a country illegally. If I'm in some other country illegally, I'm not going to be comfortable. You shouldn't be comfortable either, because when you enter this country illegally,
You became a criminal.
Committed a crime. You are a criminal, and you're not off the table.
There it is.
Cartels,
That's what I said.
gang members. We have had dozens and dozens of Americans that have been murdered. I'll scroll their names again. We have had dozens of Americans, including children, that have been raped by Harris Biden unvetted illegals. We have hundreds and hundreds of Americans victims of violent crime. We have a fentanyl crisis. We have an opioid crisis. We have cartels. We have gang members.
Yeah, he said the cartels were bringing that fentanyl across. I didn't know where it was coming from personally.
We have 13,000 illegal immigrant murderers inside our country. We have known terrorists inside our country. We have more than 15,000 convicted rapists and sex offenders inside our country. More than 20.
And I heard that, those countries that sent them here told them, you come back here, you're going to die. So they almost they ain't got no damn choice. It's like they got to go back to their own country and hide.
500 kidnappers inside our country. All told, more than 400,000 criminal, illegal immigrants, including known terrorists. They're here, but we don't know where they are. How are we going to find them to get rid of them?
Look, we got ICE is very good at what they do. We have a targeting system.
Look at all
I
this.
can't really talk about it on the air because it's law enforcement sensitive, but we're going to find them. And look, we're going to go get them. I saw today numerous governors from sanctuary states saying they're going to step in the way. They better get the hell out of the way. Either you help us or get the hell out of the way, because ICE is going to do their job. We're going to take the handcuffs off ICE that the Biden administration put on them and let ICE what they do best. And let me say this. Back to the viewer, Joe Biden. They promised, this administration promised, they're going to concentrate on the criminal aliens. That was a priority. Secretary Mayorkas said it. I looked at the stats today. The removal of criminal aliens is down 74% from President Trump. We have more criminals here than we ever had.
Whoa!
We have plenty of targets out there, and the men and women of this new administration
Wow.
are going to go look for them. They're going to look for them in sanctuary cities. If sanctuary cities don't want help, get out of the way. I'll double the workforce in that sanctuary city. We're going to do our job. Despite the politics, we're doing it. So get used to it, because we're coming.
Let me ask you this.
Man, he said yesterday he had to turn his phone off because he was getting thousands of messages from people talking about coming out of retirement, former workers coming out of retirement. They used to secure the border. We're going to come out to help you. You got what I'm saying? Because we know it's going to be a big job. I'm like, wow.
Do you like the idea of maybe giving a grace period where people that did not respect our laws, borders, sovereignty, that maybe you give them 2 or 3 months
To run?
and you say you can self-report and we will help deport you. We will send you back to your home country. And if you do that, we'll put money in your pocket so you can rebuild your life, which would be a lot cheaper than paying for 3 nights at a 4-star hotel in New York and giving them a debit card. And in a year, after a year or 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, you can then apply to come into the country legally. If you don't self-report, deport, then you will never be given an opportunity at citizenship. And when you leave, you will never be invited back. You will never be able to apply to come into the country. Sound like a good idea or no?
Criminals and gang members get no grace period. But while we're out prioritizing the public safety threats and national security threats, if you want to self-deport, you should self-deport. Because, again, we know who you are, and we're going to come and find you. So if you want to self-deport, that's fine. But criminals and gang members, they get no favors from this administration. You came to this country illegally, which is a crime. You committed crimes against the United States citizens, some heinous crimes. You get no grace period, so we're coming for you. But for those others, the
Yo, this dude is the Punisher. Yo, he don't give an F. Yo.
You want to self-deport, I'm all for it. Because when they self-report, they can put their orders, put everything in order, their family business, if they got homes or whatever, they can put all that in order and leave with their family altogether. It makes perfect sense for the ones that are not criminals.
How are they going to get home? How do they get home?
A bus. They take them over the border.
Well, the ones we're going to arrest, we'll put on an airplane and send them home. And the ones that want to go home on their own, they found their way across the world to come to the greatest nation on earth. They can find their way home. Either that, or I'll give them a free airline ticket that we put them on our airplane and we'll take them home. It's either way. It's up to them. If we arrest them, they come on our airplane, Sean. If they want to go on their own airplane, I welcome it.
Let me ask you this: if I went down to the border and I had a truck, and I picked up people that were known illegal immigrants, entered the country illegally, and I put them in the truck and I fed them, and I said to them, "Where would you like to go?" And they said, "This state, that state," and I were to drive them to whatever location they were asking for. Would I not be guilty of human trafficking? Would I not be guilty of aiding and abetting and law breaking? In all likelihood, if Harris and Biden, if their DOJ found out I did that, well, what are the odds they would have arrested me and put me in jail for as long as they possibly could? Probably the rest of them.
You know what I want to do? I want to hear a story that would convince me to truly understand why they would come here illegally. Other than the time limit. I've heard of the time limit, and it can be up to 10 years. So I get that, but the way I am, I'm not risking prison or jail or deportation to do that. What could make you so feverishly motivated to get to America. What is that bad? Okay. I'm just trying to run things through my mind. I'm like, okay, you lived in, a lot of these houses, sometimes like ain't got much to it. You always hear the story, the dirt floor, didn't know where your next meal was, stuff like that. But if there are people eating in your country, I'm like, well, they're eating. They're not on the dirt floor. How come they're not on the dirt floor? I'm not talking about the rich. I'm talking about just like a lot of the regular people that got jobs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, I'm trying to think what would make me want to try to get here illegally. You get what I'm saying? And I can't think of nothing yet. I'd like to hear a story that would kind of make me say, you know what? I ain't gonna lie. In that case, I would try to get here illegally. I can't lie. I just, because I try to always follow the law. You know what I mean?
My life.
You'd be arrested and charged with a felony. You'd be in violation of Title 8, United States Code 1324, alien smuggling. I put a lot of people in prison for that,
okay.
For violation of that statute. That's what's supposed to happen. And you're exactly right. This administration is complicit in the smuggling of millions of people into this country. And look at just the children. We have over 500,000 children that were smuggled in this country by criminal cartels. This administration released their so-called sponsors 500,000, and they can't find them. And that's something I want to talk about real quickly. President Trump is committed. This is just not a deportation operation that we're targeting the worst of the worst first. We're going to find those 500,000.
That really bothers me right there. 500,000 children, and they cannot find them. And my mind is going everywhere, and y'all know where it's going.
Man, children, we're going to save them. We'll put them.
You remember when Sound of Freedom came out, and there were certain people that refused to review the movie? It makes me wonder deep down, why?
Back to their families. That's what President Trump's committed to doing.
And you're talking about the children that were used by criminal illegal immigrants that don't even know these children, and they use them to get into the country. We know that's happened on a large scale, correct?
How'd they use them to get into the country?
Absolutely. Children have been rented by the criminal cartels to single males, go across the border, be released. The child goes back, gets re-rented again. And we know what happens to these children, Sean. Look, the illegal aliens coming across the border, people need to understand, 31% of women that make that journey get raped by criminal cartels. Children get raped. I've talked to little girls as young as 9 that have been raped multiple times. These cartels are animals, and that's why President Trump's going to take them off the face of the earth. They have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world.
Sick,
and President Trump is committed to calling them terrorist organization and using the full might of the United States Special Operations to take them out.
I pray we have known terrorists in this country. I believe they're plotting, planning, and scheming the next attack on this country. I pray to God that I'm wrong, Tom. I've known you a long time. I don't think I am, but I pray that I'm wrong, that they're plotting and planning another attack. Harris and Biden aided and abetted in the law breaking, and they do have blood on their hands because every American that has been murdered and raped and a victim of violent crime because of their wide open borders, that's on them. If there's a terror attack, that will be on them too. Tom Homan, appreciate you being with us. Get ready. By the way, buckle up, because you're going to be called every name in the book for doing your job and enforcing the laws of our country. Hey, Sean Hand.
Wow, man. Oh, Lord, that bothers me. Well, I've said a lot. Now it's your turn to say something. Post comments down below. Let me know what you all think. If you enjoyed my reaction and my commentary, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And remember, we are on the road to 10 million subscribers. So let's get there fast. 10 million subscribers. Woo!